Welcome everybody to the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card. So today we're getting messages for you from the Fae. What is sort of hidden from you that the liminal space and the Fae can see and bring to light to you, so that you can do better with something or understand something better or just for your highest good overall. So that's what we're looking at. I haven't done a messages from the Fae for quite a while, and I enjoy doing this particular type of reading. And from the views that I tend to get for this, I think people enjoy it, so hopefully you will. But the real reason that I really thought, I'm going to do it now, is that I just bought the really beautiful Children of Litha Tarot by Alexandria Huntington. So I thought this is a really good kind of energy. The Children of Litha has very Fae-like fantasy, liminal space sort of characters within it that have that kind of enchanted forest feeling to it, just like the Fae brings that sort of energy. So I thought, why not actually use that to use the beautiful new tarot deck in its first run on my channel, so to speak. So this is the first one I'm filming anyway. I am actually going to use this in a series that I'm going to do as well too. I'm going to use the Children of Litha Tarot in a series. So you may see that before this, because it just depends. I film these and then I kind of commune with spirit about what topic needs to publish when. But at the time I'm filming this is the first time I'll have used that beautiful deck. So hopefully you'll enjoy that just as much as I'm sure I will. So not a lot of explanation really needed for this. As I say, it's just messages from the Fae. So I'm using a particular Fae deck here. There's another card underneath it from this deck and another Fairy Fae related deck to set the scene of what the type of message is. Then we'll look at it in much more detail with the tarot and then build on it with oracle cards as usual. So you can go to more than one pile if you want. There could be more than one message the Fae want to bring to you. But to help with the choice, I did ask Spirit to, I just shuffled and asked Spirit for one of the key energies around the message. So for pile number 1, we have the Initiate. It's card number 14, if numbers are important to you. Interestingly, the second card for pile number 2 is 41, so the inverse of 14, and it's Arwen. This talks about gift, divine inspiration, awakening. The initiate talks about curiosity, open and warm. And then pile number 3 has 31. It's the Fairy Norn, planning, patience and cooperation. So those sort of energies, words, images or whatever may draw to you. As I say, if you want to go to more than one reading, by all means do so. But when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, timestamps are in the description box below and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So you've come to the reading with Initiate. That's what would have potentially drawn you to this, unless you always go to pile 1. But that's kind of interesting in and of itself. Pile 1, the first of the piles, the Initiate, the beginning of something. There's certainly an energy here that the Fae want to talk to you about initiating something. It's a bit like the Fool card in the tarot deck. It's sort of like starting something without knowing all the opportunities, but also all the risks that are associated with it. It's the beginning of a journey. This is a very spiritual journey of emotional connection, fertility in one form or another, and the opening up of psychic gifts. So for some, with the Grail Fairy there, that does talk about things like, fertility, the womb, birthing. So if any of you have come to this reading and you want to start a family, it's an extremely good sign around that. So I'm just going to say that very specifically because that won't be everybody coming here, but there is literally a message of that, initiating a pathway to that and drawing in, I would think, a very psychically attuned child, someone that you will be very psychically attuned to. So that's a very specific message for anybody that relates to, but an extremely good sign. The other thing I think around this is the Initiate is starting something, a spiritual journey, a pathway, a study course, whatever it might be. Some people might think you're taking risks. Some people may not understand what you're doing, but you have that enthusiasm and that sort of energy to do it and that curiosity to do it. And that's a really powerful thing, because you are meant to create something out of this with the Grail Fairy. It is meant to be a time where spiritual energy, the energy of the moon, gifts come through and you're meant to create things. And it could be seeing things by the light of the moon, not in complete clarity, but going in and understanding that through symbols and your subconscious and all that sort of thing, you're going to get the guidance that you need to do it. So there's sort of something that you're meant to embark on in some form or another. And as I say, with the dreamer, with visions, trance, apparitions, this is telling me you're very, very psychic, or you're going to find yourself increasingly psychic. pay attention to visions, pay attention to signs. A little bit later in this reading, we're going to look at the magic that you have, and this group has a lot of magic given this. This is the mother, maiden, crone type of energy of magic, but it's kind of more in the sort of between mother and maiden, where the kind of emotional energy and the fertility energy is really flowing very freely. So it is sort of newer in the cycle, but you're a natural. Like this is telling me you're a natural psychic, you're a natural spiritual person. You don't have to be, you could be old, you could be in what one might think of as a crone phase, like I am, but it's, if you are starting on something around spirituality, it's bringing in a new fresh energy and one that you have a very natural gift for. So it doesn't really matter what stage of life you're in, but there's a flow of energy, a flow of connection to the moon in particular, I feel. So there's the Fae, but I think there's also the Archangel Gabriel that you would be connected to the cycles of the moon, and paying attention to that around your magic is very, very important. But there's a spiritual thing, but it could manifest in any kind of new adventure, new job, new relationship, new family, as I said, new spiritual approach. It doesn't really matter. It's more that there is a huge amount of sort of psychic and spiritual energy that you're going to tap into and have access to as you step out in this, and that the Fae want you to do it. They want you to feel really encouraged at the concept of doing something new, something that is not well known. If you are used to doing a lot of spiritual stuff, it might be this is a new spiritual modality to do. If you've been great at reading cards and things like that, maybe it's saying learn astrology. I mean, it could be anything. But I'm just giving some examples. But that's the energy that Fae want to talk to you about. So let's see what Tarot tells us, a little bit more detail about it for you. So firstly, what is important now, and why is it? First of all, more on the message, and then we're going to ask why it's important. So a little bit more about the message that the Fae is bringing you, then we're going to ask why it's important. So what else do the Fae want to say? The Six of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, I think that is, the Four of Cups reversed. I'm just getting, this is literally the first time I've used this deck, so I'm just getting used to what the various things are. Actually, no, that would be Wands. So that's the Two of Wands, because this is the Nine of Swords. And the swords are sharper. That's what I was trying to work out the difference. And then we have the Eight of Wands. Okay. There is a kind of sense of learning and a benefactor or a support or a guide or the resources that are necessary for this. When you have the Six of Pentacles, it could be a job offer. And so it's a new boss who is offering you, recognizing something for you. It could be a teacher who's coming along who recognizes you. There's something where you have yet to attain a level, financially, academically, skills-wise or whatever. So there is something where someone is going to come in and help you, going to provide a kind of patronage or benefactor energy. And you may be in two minds at first about whether to do this. And I think the Fae is saying go for it. Go for it. Because if you are holding back, it might be because there's some emotional blockages from the past, things that didn't work, things that you tried that you didn't feel worked, that you're still trying to process. And therefore it makes you worry about the implications of this. So this card is saying, there could be some risks associated with it. Is it going to turn out to be a skill you have? Is it going to be something you would like? It suggests to me that the Fae is talking to you about this because there's something else you tried at some point, probably not that long ago, that was new and it didn't really turn out to be what you wanted it to be. You may even have some sort of feeling of regret around it that you haven't let go of. But the Spirit is, the Fae here is saying, with the Eight of Wands, you're meant to fly with this. You're meant to move forward. This is a really good opportunity. I sort of feel really drawn to the fact there's sort of very red hair for the initiative. I sort of feel like there's a very fiery energy. So it's interesting that we have the sort of fire card there about you're meant to move quickly, achieve something. But there's some past thing, I think, some block around this. For some of you, you may literally have some sort of a block around spiritual or magical gifts. You might have come from a family that kind of went, oh, that's all evil or something. Like you might sort of feel like, oh, I could learn this, I could do it, and I can feel this energy coming through, but I'm a bit frightened of it. But this is just an emotional block to come through because this energy is very, very positive. It's very, very pure. There could also be that there's something, given that we have the very strong feminine energy here, that for some of you, there may be something about moving up the ladder or taking a job that's not traditionally feminine or something like that, and you're a bit worried, like, will I fit in? But again, yeah, you're going to. You have the natural skill here. You might sort of actually break through some barriers and prove, that gender isn't the important thing around skills and so forth in a job. So whatever this is, the Fae want you to move forward with it. They want you to take the risk. They're saying they've got your back. They're saying they're going to send you energy. And whoever or whatever has been sent as a patron or a material benefit that is providing the foundation for this can be trusted, because it is meant to be something you'll explore, and you'll move quickly from the decision point to achieving something. It's also going to help you let go of something where you're not sure. I'm just going to move these up a bit just to give a little bit more space. So then we go, okay, if that's what it is, it is something new that you're a little bit worried about, might remind you of something before that didn't quite work, but there's a foundation that you need for it. There'll be someone ahead of you on this path, whether it's someone material or whether it's the Fae or spiritual energy, and you're meant to do this. You're meant to move forward. You're meant to have confidence. So why is it important now? Why is it important that you take this message from the Fae? We have the 6 of, I think that would be Pentacles. Oh no, sorry, it's not. I am getting used to this. It's got swords there. The 6 of Swords reversed. I was thinking Pentacles because the butterfly forms, but we've got the swords. So do bear with me on this as I say, as I'm learning the deck. The 6 of Swords reversed. We have the Hanged Man. We have the Ace of Cups. We have the Magician reversed. And we have Strength. Okay. This is necessary to clear the energy of whatever it is that's making you doubt. This looks to me like for many of you, there may have been a relationship, like it could have been sort of something in work or learning or spirituality or whatever, but I think there was maybe a relationship that was not honest, and you're still dealing with the shadow energy of that. Like if you were thinking about, should I sort of go out and meet people again, or somebody asks you out and you're thinking, can I, there's something about them that's a bit similar to someone before, and maybe you don't feel like you're their equal and this is going to be an issue because it was an issue before. But there's something here around, the Fae is saying that at the very least this is going to nourish your heart rather than having you stuck. But it's kind of going to be very different to something where you felt kind of manipulated, or you felt controlled, or you felt bad about something. So you're not sure about, whether, you would follow through on something. There's some sort of energy here, either your own sort of guilt about communication that you did before, or communication and control and so forth from somebody who wasn't being honest. And it's the thing that's making you worry. There's something about this that reminds you of that. But you're meant to break through that. That's meant to move away. You're meant to come into strength. And once you really start moving with this, you'll realise your own strength. It's almost as though, whether it's spiritually, around work, around a relationship, you gave up your power to someone else. This is why the trigger being someone who appears to be with the 6 of Pentacles, maybe either better off financially or further down the thing. It's why it's triggering this worry, because you at one point maybe followed someone or trusted someone and they didn't turn out to be what they said they were going to be, in whatever form this is. But this is a better outcome. This is to clear that energy for you. Otherwise, you'll never really take the risk to learn all you could be. This could have slowed you down and stunted you, as opposed to the Fae want you to open up and so forth. They say you've been stuck. Ever since whatever this was, you've been kind of stuck because you felt like, I don't know what to do now. I don't know what direction to go in. But they're saying you don't have to have the answers right now. The foundation of this is strong. You're ready to be able to take the risks. Maybe some other people are telling you not to take the risks, but that's precisely when you need to, because you are going to get the signs to do it. You are going to go from strength to strength, definitely. So it's important now, because it's the thing that clears the thing that makes you afraid of doing it. And you're coming into a time where all those gifts you have will flower, all the sort of psychic spiritual gifts will flower and help you in whatever this is. So what can only the Fae see at the moment that you can't see? And how will that help you? So what is their perspective that being out of time and space in a way, or being in a different dimension shows them that you can't see at the moment, but which knowing that will help you. Nine of Cups reversed. Knight of Wands reversed. Oh, is it not? That's the King of Cups reversed, sorry. Read like the 9 when I looked at it reversed. It's the King of Cups reversed, the Knight of Wands reversed, the 10 of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Okay. They know that the time is coming for old structures, old lineages, old power people, whatever might have been holding you back, whatever is right now making whoever's helping you out be a little bit ahead of you, whatever it is time for that to shift. A new legacy is meant to be born. You're meant to be part of some new legacy. So, you know, if it's in a job, in an organisation, if it's around a relationship, to create a new family line that is healthier and better and can move forward in a way that the current line isn't doing. If it's around a business, it's to make the business better. If it's a spiritual thing, it's to create a new legacy around that. Because the Fae can see that the timing is really important here, that there isn't a lot of time. If you delay, then you miss the opportunity to do this. But there is something very material. You are meant to do very well out of this in some way. And people who were involved before and maybe let out before, they're not going to be as powerful anymore. And it is a shift. Like, this is like the King of Cups, the Knight of Wands. I feel like there's a shift from almost a patriarchal energy to a matriarchal energy. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean the people involved are male or female, you know, because the energy around this, it's quite gender fluid, tarot, in many ways, but there is a patriarchal energy that is giving way. They see this. They can see into the future. They know that. They know there's a brief period of time, there's a brief opportunity to create a new legacy. This is why it's important for you to kind of really step into your gifts and what you can do, because you can see it too. And what they're saying is that you will be able to prophetically see this too if you just allow those gifts to flower. You'll be able to do what they do, which is see the future. And it's important because there's something that you could do in whatever way, in whatever part of your life this is, that will create something that is the new structure, the new legacy, the new family, whatever it might be. So that's why it's important at the moment. And you don't see it at the moment because you aren't yet accessing this, but once you start on this path, you'll access it and you'll see it yourself. Okay, so let's get you some other sort of nature-based, forest-based creatures to help. I'm going to use the Luminous Creatures deck. I often don't know what the animal is. They're very, very cute, but I usually have to just pause and look it up, so bear with me on that. But we're just going to get a couple of luminous creatures to help you on this journey that the Fae are saying you're ready to go on. We have number 37, and I'm not going to guess. I mean, I could guess, but it could be wrong, so I'm not going to say. And we have, okay, number 45. And again, I could probably guess, but I could be wrong. So I'm just going to pause for a second. Okay, I would have got that one right and that one wrong. I thought that was maybe a mouse, but this is an otter, this is a sheep. Now, the sheep energy, I think, is picking up where you might hold yourself back because of the dictates of an old order. So the sheep is helping you here to not conform to things that are no longer going to work for you, so that you can step into your own power. The otter makes you then devote yourself to what matters. So not to old systems, old connections, old relationships, but embarking on new things. It helps you find the family, the love, the right workplace, whatever it might be that you can devote yourself to and enjoy the devotion of it. So this is really about you stepping into who you are. This is why the Fae are very insistent about whatever didn't work before, it doesn't matter. The time is right now, because there's something crucial in what you're doing that will probably help others, or at least shift the dial a bit on a consciousness level. Around where we conform to things that are no longer the right energy for the world as it's emerging. So this is why it's important. So there's a kind of a sheep here to make you stay true to yourself, and an otter to make you stay true to those causes or people that you then choose. Okay, so what magic do you bring? I mean, it's obvious there's some prophecy and so forth here, but what other magic do you bring as a result of the message of the Fae? Listen, the capacity to sort of be still, to listen, to understand, to hear, to go within. And sacred heart, to find, to find what is devotional, to find what is true to the heart, like the Ace of Cups is almost a kind of holy grail sort of thing. And this was talked about, the Grail Fairy. So the Holy Grail, something that is actually very, very pure, very, very sacred. This is why they're saying it's important for you to do it. It's like your energy is the sort of sacred energy, and the right sort of communion might feel like it's risky, might feel like whatever this environment is not conducive, but you will find the support you need. And if you just listen within, you get to that point of sacred energy. So let's get you a couple of planetary pairs to help you around opening up and activating these magical abilities to fulfill the promise of the message of the Fae here. So for listen, we have Mercury and Neptune. Yeah, it's listening to the psychic energy. You're going to get a lot of downloads and you're going to be able to communicate them, but first you have to hear them. So they're going to be communicated to you at a very liminal level, but you have to kind of connect into the energy frequency and take that on to do it. And it'll come very fast with Mercury. It will speed up once you get on the path. All the information you need will come through very, very fast. And then the energy around the devotional sacred heart nature of it. Chiron and Pluto, there's some very deep healing. This is what I'm saying. I think there's something about this which is almost healing an old system that didn't support the divine feminine and the matriarchy side of things. There's something like that major transformation that's ultimately healing. This is why it's important. But it's also healing for you. And if, as I said, if right at the beginning I said this could be saying you're coming into a good cycle to have a child if you wanted to. If you tried before and it didn't work, then there's some very deep transformative healing energy in this to bring that energy through. So not to be afraid and to go forward. Obviously, if it's something like that, get all the medical support you need and everything. I'm not doing medical diagnosis here, but there's the Fae is sort of saying whatever it is that you are wanting to create and how you connect in, you're going to get the guidance you need. And there's something deeply healing and transformative in the energy associated with what you're going to do for you, but I think for others as well. So let's also get you a sign from the sort of natural element world for each phase of this as well too. So listening in to hear the message and then getting to the sacred space where the deeply transformative healing occurs. So around the listening energy, orange, warmth, joy, excitement, vitality, creativity. Orange. There's something here about sort of, well, that's the sacral chakra. So there could be sexual energy. Definitely. I mean, if this is around a relationship, it's going to be very, very passionate and really, really healing in many, many ways. But it could be starting a creative endeavor with orange there. It could be starting a family. Spiritually, it could be sort of like doing stuff that connects people back to the divine feminine, to the creative energy. It's sort of like listening in for what would make you joyful rather than what has been painful. It's clearing that energy for you. And then with the healing and the sacred level of what this is about for you. Dog, masculine energy, loyalty, assistance, duty, discipline. Okay, so right at the beginning, I felt like there's somebody who's maybe in the current system a little bit higher than you in whatever it is. They're going to help you. There is a friend. There is a support here. And they're going to be more like an equal eventually, and they'll be fine with that because like this masculine energy is loyal. It has duty. It has discipline. So it's not like if, as I say, this was a shift from the sort of masculine to the feminine, the masculine are repressed. It's just more that the feminine is drawn up to be equal. And there's a real sense that you are going to have the right sort of friends and supports around you for it, which is lovely. So let's just finish with one last piece of advice from the Fae and the Enchanted Forest for you, Pile 1. Participate. Do not confuse intention with entitlement. The entitlement to demand from the world leaves you with nothing. The world is rich and so are you. I think you've dealt with things about entitlement. You may even have felt that you went forward with something before feeling that you were entitled and you weren't ready yet. So for some of you, that might be a bit of a message. Don't dwell on it. Don't feel guilty. You're ready now. But going forward with how you could participate, how you could make it sacred, how you could be devoted to the right cause and the right people, how you could shift the dial and heal things. All of that will bring out the richness of your life and the richness of the world. So I hope that that resonates for you, pile one. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile two, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Arwen, talking about gift, divine inspiration, awakening. What we also have here is the wild hunt, excitement, frenzy and journey, and Acorn's invitation, touch, exchange, connection. So it's funny, with the first reading, there was one very specific thing that could be the case, and I'm going to, the similar thing here, and I'm going to mention that, and then I'm going to talk more generally. The very specific thing here is meeting a significant other. And it's probably mainly, to be honest, if your preference is towards men, whatever your gender is, if that's going to be the case, because Acorn's invitation, amongst other things, could be a very attractive man coming into the picture. It's overall about touch and connection. So this could be about connection, whether it's physical, sexual, that kind of thing, or whether it's more emotional. But that is an aspect of this. So I think for some, this could be that, particularly as Arwen can be like the divine inspiration, the moment when everything changes. It talks about it as though it's sort of like lifting the veil and seeing the face of God. I think if we're looking at that interpretation, this is that moment when you meet someone and it's like, whoa. It's almost like a tower moment in terms of a relationship. And then we have the wild hunt that takes you on a very exciting and somewhat risky but exhilarating sort of journey towards your passionate nature. So for some of you, this is the fire saying a great love's coming in. Just is. Now, if you are not, that's not your preference, or that's not what this is about, or you're not at the stage in your life when that would be the case, or if you're happily in a relationship and all that kind of thing, then there is something else here with Owen, as I say, some sort of divine inspiration, some sort of mystical experience, some sort of, this could come if somebody had a near-death experience. I'm not saying you're going to experience that, so don't worry. I would say it's only if you have already and you've obviously come back from it. But near-death experiences, astral travel, really profound dreams, lucid dreams, really profound meditation, really profound shamanic journey, something like that, mystical experience. And there's been a revelation and it's changed you. And in some way, or it's going to. So the Fae could be saying this is coming as well too. I really honestly don't think they're going to talk about a near-death experience unless you have experienced it. But for all the other ones, it could be something coming in. And that's just how my spirit guides work. They don't talk about death in an upcoming way. So even though near death isn't actually death, but you know what I'm saying there. So I think that there's some sort of major revelation. It is about connecting to others, and in the material world, touch, the senses. The senses are important. For some, it may be the revelation of a number of new clear senses, because people can talk about, we have sight, hearing, touch, taste, all of those sort of things, and touch is the main one here. But there is an argument magically that instead of those being the quantum of those abilities, in fact, the clear senses take us to more of the quantum of it, that we can see more, we can touch more, and so forth. So there could be something like that, the rising of a new clear sense or two, particularly ones that are very sensate. That's possible, but there's sort of something that connects you to something very of this world and connects you to your passion, excitement. And this card talks about, it may really upend your life, and you might suddenly go, I've got to, I've had a revelation that my spiritual energy is in India and I've just got to go to India and that's all there is to it, and off you go. Or something like that. Or I've been sort of like sitting on the couch contemplating life for too long. I've actually got to get into that course because that's who I truly am, or something like that. There's a real sense of energy, movement, travel, all of that kind of thing coming from some sort of revelation and some sort of connection with the material world, or from a great love coming in. So let's ask with the tarot a little bit more about what the Fae is trying to say. Then we're going to ask why that matters. Why are they telling you this? Why is it important for you to get this message at the moment? So firstly, a little bit more about it. The King of Swords reversed. The Seven of Cups reversed. The Queen of Swords reversed. The Devil. The Page of Pentacles. Okay. So if this is about a great love, the reason that the Fae want to talk to you about it is that you have a tendency to go into your mind and think about all the reasons why something isn't the case or it isn't right. And it may be because you sort of like had meeting of the mind sort of things with people before and they've turned out not to be trustworthy or whatever. You have almost a cynicism. Like if this is meant to be a great love and hasn't come in, I bet anything you're sitting there thinking, yeah, sure, Helen, about it, because it's sort of like, yeah, no. But so they want you to know, like it's your mind is the only thing that's sort of like, you're thinking of being emotionally realistic, but you're kind of shutting yourself off in some way. That's a shadow energy that you have to free yourself from, because there is something material, there's something real coming in. So if you're meant to be meeting someone, then you're probably going, no, there's no way, but that's what's coming. That's what they're saying. If it's not that, and as I say, it won't be for everybody, then I think that this is showing that you may have actually had a little bit, you come to these readings, so you obviously are open to the spiritual, but I think that there's almost a kind of it's hard for you to believe the numinous without evidence. Like you have a kind of a scientific view of this and you go, again, I'm not going to just believe it because it's warm and fuzzy and I'm not going to get into all this new age stuff. Show me the evidence, like prove it to me almost scientifically. But something's coming that is going to be so shattering to all those paradigms in terms of a vision that it just shifts everything. It may be some real understanding of a spiritual warfare energy that's around. It could be that you understand how your mind, which I think is very clever and very realistic, like 99% of the time, has become a bit of a prison for you. And it's like being in the world and experiencing something. You know what it kind of makes me think of? I don't know why it's making me think of this, but it is. It's making me think of St. Francis of Assisi. It's making me think of sort of someone, he came from great wealth. He was living in great wealth, and then he went out into the world and he saw poverty and he connected with nature and with animals, and everything changed. Everything changed. He moved away from the sort of like the safety and security of that, and he said, I'm dedicating myself to the divine and I'm dedicating myself to helping others. And I got tears in my eyes talking about this because St. Francis of Assisi is my favourite saint for that reason. And I just feel like it's a similar thing here, like something like it's going to really, if it hasn't just already done it, it's going to crash through everything. You're going to have an experience. Without going to the details, I had an experience a few years ago that was so profound that it shifted everything about what I think about what happens after death, after all of that kind of stuff. And it shifted me in a very, very profound way. So I think it's something like that we're looking at. But as I say, you kind of, it's so profound and so sensate, you can't ignore it, that it makes you know you have to keep moving forward with it. You can't deny it. You can't go, oh, well, give me some more proof. So it's, if they want you to know this is profound, there's a profound revelation or a profound connection or maybe a bit of both coming through. So why is it important now? Why right now do the Fae want to say this to you? The Hanged Man reversed, the Fool, the Hierophant reversed, the Ten of Swords, the Five of Cups. Okay. So I'm going to go, as I've been doing, I'm going to go firstly if this is about a love relationship and then if it's about a spiritual revelation, because it's going to be one or the other. If it's a love relationship, they want you to think differently. Something very different's coming into what you've experienced before. And it is the next step in your journey. It's very different. It's not the same. It's not the same as anything before. So if you're carrying sort of like, oh, I'm being emotionally realistic because of the experiences I had before, this is a very different connection, very different. It's not conventional. Like you may be from very different cultures, you might have very different attitudes about things like marriage, like whatever it is, it's not of the same norm of what you've gone through, but it is an incredibly liberating energy that allows you to let go of what was disappointing before. So this is a very healing energy, but it's so different that it is a bit wild. It's very much about passion. It's very much about the material and the sensate, very different to everything before. And there's no set roadmap for it. But it's profound. Like it's like you can't not go with it. And I feel like this is one where the person's going to be there. I don't feel like there's going to be a block necessarily on it happening on that sort of level. I just feel like it's so profoundly intense that it's, and so different that it's, it's like seeing the face of God. I mean, not literally that your other half is God, but like that kind of energy of like realizing something more profound. Now, if it's around a spiritual thing, again, you are being forced to think differently about something. There is a new journey you are going to be required to go on. It is to break old traditions spiritually that are illegitimate, or where power and all of that kind of thing was more the order of the day rather than the true spiritual energy, and to clear emotional stuff for you around this, to reconnect you to your mystical self. So, wow. So, what do the Fae know right now, the liminal side see that you don't see, but would be helpful to know? So what is the kind of, almost probably a little bit into the future, what do they see in this that you couldn't at this point see? So it's important for you to kind of know it, to consider it, to have it there in your back pocket as this energy unfolds. So the Knight of Pentacles reversed, the Eight of Swords, the World reversed, and then the Nine of Cups. Okay. This is going to be a struggle for some reason. So if it's, say it's a relationship, not because the other person doesn't care. I don't think they're going to. I don't think there's going to be any issue about that. But this is going to require you to free yourself from something and to no longer be dedicated to something, to be dedicated to and achieve something else. For some of you, it could be if you are in an unhappy relationship and you're there just because of duty or honor or whatever, this may be the relationship that breaks that up, and you're going to have to kind of not finish something and free yourself from something that you're not really committed to. You're there for other reasons to find your joy. If you're not with someone and this comes in, there could be something in the world to follow this, to go on the wild hunt, that you have to not finish. You may have to leave a job or something like that, move in some way. But again, it's towards joy. But there's sort of something like that operating with this. And if this is around spiritual stuff, it's like you're leaving a particular cultural sort of thing. You're leaving a spiritual tradition. You're renouncing the world in a way. And as I say, it feels like St. Francis of Assisi. Now, I'm not saying you've got to like walk out tomorrow and just live with the poor and make that everything. That was his journey. That was his thing. But there's something about renouncing the old to move to the new. But it is towards joy, even though it's like it's kind of shattering it's a positive way, but it's like a real shock to the system. That's what's going on. And it brings you really into the material impact of spirituality, and how the momentum of that and the excitement of that can move forward and loosen things up and free things. It's all that kind of energy, but there's a big shift around this, I have to say. So let's get you some support. Let's firstly get you some luminous creatures. So this is a really cute deck, but I never know for sure what the animals are, so I don't guess. I pause when I put it out to see what the animals are. So the first animal in the wild, in the forest, that could help you. Okay, it's some sort of bird. And then the second one, wow, it looks like a bat, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I shouldn't guess. Okay, I should never guess. That's actually a dragon. And given that I really like dragons, I feel a bit bad that I called it a bat. So a dragon and a hawk. So the hawk is here to give you a higher perspective. If this is all sort of very much, you're in the earth, you're in the ground, you're in life, in the stuff of life. This hawk is here to give you that higher perspective about what's important and the direction this is going. And like if you're sort of on the wild hunt, what direction to navigate. The dragon is saying there's something very profound going on here. That it's like it could feel wild, it could feel chaotic, but equally it does bring in abundance, it brings in transformation, profound, powerful transformation. So it's not really something, you don't get to argue with the dragon, you know what I mean? When it comes along, like it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So this energy is a force to be reckoned with, but you're being given two winged creatures here to get above the whole thing and see it for what it is so that you understand it, because it's big. Whatever this is big, pile two. So let's then have a look at what magic you bring to the table around all of this. Sacred Heart, that's interesting. That came up in one of the others. It's something very divine, very special, very pure about this energy. And protection, you're protected. So it may seem chaotic, it may seem risky, but you know how to protect yourself, you know how to ground yourself. All of that kind of energy is around you. So, like, I feel for some of you, I'm just looking at, I feel that some of you, you're kind of like in the astral realm or something, going to be drawn to some group of people or something. There's going to be something where you're shown something that profoundly changes everything, but it's protective. It's protective. It's sacred. So let's see the astrology energy around that, pairings of planets for the sacred perspective and for the protected transformation. So for the sacred perspective, we have Chiron and Pluto. That came up in one of the others too, I think. There's something deeply transformative and healing in this for you. So if it's a love, it's going to be very different and very healing. If it is having the ultimate mystical, life-changing thing, it is a transformation that heals. It's sacred. It's beautiful. It's not anything to be frightened of, even though it may seem huge and a bit frenzied and a bit wild and a bit unknown. And then the protection that the dragon and others bring you around this transformation is Sun and Uranus, becoming your own power, becoming your own inspiration. I mean, that is like saying the space of God, like the Uranian sort of energy that is so electric and wild, and the sun, the original source of all. There's something very profound about this if it's spiritual, I've got to say. You won't be the same after it. But if it's a relationship, ditto, you won't be the same, but it's a very, very positive connection. I mean, it's positive either way. So let's get you a couple of natural sort of element type of signs that can help you again around the healing and transformation and around the kind of protection of seeing yourself, your love, the divine, purely. So a sign energy around the sacredness of this healing energy. Cliff, danger, obstacles, insecurity, discomfort, risk, dilemma. Yeah, it feels like a cliff. It feels like you're going to tumble into Pluto. But Chiron is there to protect, and it's sacred. And you've got, this is why a bird, it really matters. Like when you're at a cliff, if you can fly from one side to the other. So it's not as dangerous as it appears, but gee, it's big. Okay, and then the transformation energy, a sign around that for you. Triangle, ritual, religion, relationship, conflict, resolution. Okay, so if this is a relationship, at the beginning you may be with someone that you leave, or the person may be with someone they leave. There might literally be a love triangle. Beyond that, the triangle is one of the strongest, in fact, I think it is the strongest form in geometry. So the connection that comes from this, two together to one, if it's a relationship, or the various sort of like sides of your own personality connected to the divine, the point of the triangle, whatever it is, there's something here. And if it is this, there's something very sacred, religious, spiritual around this, around finding the greatest strength, and there's a resolution in it. But it could cause some inner conflict. So it's an interesting energy, but you are protected as you go through it. Okay, just to finish off, we're just going to get one more piece of advice from the Enchanted Forest for you. Everything is here. Embrace the spiritual belief that everything already exists in the here and now. Live in the present moment and be grateful for what you have. So it's in the material world that you're going to get it, but it's a revelation of something you didn't even realize was there. It's all here already. It's just waiting for you to see it, I think, is the message. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Faery Norn, which is about planning, patience and cooperation. Also from that deck, we have She Who Laughs, Humour, Perspective and Mirth. And we have the Secret Doorway, working with intuition, second sight opening, dimensional doorways. The interesting thing about these three together is I think there's a very specific message that's coming through this. So you'll know whether this is the right reading for you. The Faery Norn comes, and that was what you were drawn to, when you may be feeling that things are out of control in your life and a bit of chaos, that you could be literally living in a house that's chaotic and an office that's chaotic. Your life could feel chaotic. There could be lots of change. it's a kind of energy of getting back together about what's important and how to plan and to prepare for things and bring things back into order in some way. So it could be, as I say, it could be in your career, it could be in your love life, it could be in your spiritual sort of thing. It could be, as I say, your house has just got really messy because you've just had so much to do, you've hardly even been able to notice it. There's something going on where there's a bit of chaos and you're wanting to bring back the sort of sense of planning. And it's having a big impact because it's making you feel, with She Who Laughs, like everything's harder than it is, everything's heavier than it is. You've got to be earnest about everything. But there's a kind of energy of like, if you can just lighten up about it and find it amusing that you've got in this situation and find some humour in it, it's actually going to help you a lot with sorting it all out and working out your priorities. But this is interesting as well because the secret doorway it sort of talks about, Alice in Wonderland needed to become smaller to go through the doorway, and see how this figure is this sort of size, the doorway is that size. It sort of says that when you really want to kind of find your way into something new or a different way of doing things or doing things differently, and there is something here about doing things differently to come out of chaos and come into some sort of order and some sort of sense that things are back in control and things are where they need to be, that we almost need to make ourselves smaller and have a beginner or a learner mindset. So there's almost a thing here of there's so much. Could even be that there's so many things you want to do that you don't know where to start. So it's sort of like going back to a beginner's mindset of what would you be doing rather than thinking about all the things that you've achieved and the things that you've got skills at and how you actually choose between them. Going back to the simplicity of like, I'm beginning to learn, and what I'm learning here is how to structure it all and how to kind of have a bit of a light touch, so I don't feel like everything has to be done immediately and everything has to be perfect immediately. When Alice in Alice in Wonderland became small and went through the portal, she went into this completely alien sort of area where she had to learn and had to kind of be curious and use humour and all those sort of things to find her way and to understand the environment she's in. So I do feel that the Fae are talking to you about something where life has got a bit chaotic, a bit out of control, a bit heavy, a bit earnest, whatever it might be. And they're saying if you can almost forget that, so a good example, you're a senior executive in an organisation. But like everything, like trying to get work-life balance, trying to get everything under control, it's all kind of chaotic. It may be that going back to first principles and saying, instead of thinking I'm the senior executive so I have to have all the answers, you get various people around you who have skills that you kind of delegate to because they're actually going to be better at something than you are. Somebody else might be good at the finances and better than you are about that, and to find humour in it and to be okay about it. Like sometimes I'm going to learn from someone else. Just because I'm the boss doesn't mean I can't learn from others. That's a good example of it, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be I've got 5 different talents and I'm trying to do them all and I can't do them all. Everything's chaotic. So it's okay. Well, which one would I kind of go right back to first principles, not think of myself as ready to shine in that, but almost go right back to the beginning and start from the beginning and work that through. There's something in doing that opens up much more within that and therefore opens the door for what you need to do. So there's something about that. It's a combination of understanding the chaos and the need to have a bit of a sense of humour and not take yourself too seriously. And maybe, let go of the reins a bit and let somebody else show you the way, or acknowledge that somebody else has a skill that you don't have, or whatever it might be. And in doing that, you're going to sort of reconnect with your intuition, be able to do what you need to do. You've taken on too much and it's too heavy. So let's see a little bit more with tarot about what this message is that the Fae is bringing to you. We've got the 9 of Cups reversed, the 5 of Pentacles, Strength reversed, the Empress, the 2 of Swords. Okay, yeah. This feels a lot like, and I'm going to use it as an example, but if that doesn't apply, apply it to whatever resonates for you. This feels a lot like someone who's like reached a position of power or abundance in a business or in an organisation or something like that. Someone who's got the role of the creative, like bringing in abundance, and you're good at it. You're very good at it. And, you're always the person who's supposed to make the decisions. So, you're kind of like, that's something you pride yourself on. But somewhere along the way, you lost the enjoyment of it and you're feeling really isolated by being in that position and you're sort of feeling like it saps your strength. And this is why this chaotic energy is there. So this is an example, but it's a good example. Whatever it is, a spiritual thing you're doing, relationships with others, you're so used to being the one who has the answers, makes the decisions, is the rainmaker or whatever, that you've lost the enjoyment in what you're doing. And everything, it's too much, and you're feeling isolated. So this is saying that, like, it's sometimes just not being the empress, saying someone else is going to be the empress now. I want to be the fool learning something new. I'm not going to have all the answers. I'm never going to have all the answers. I'm going to stop pretending I've got all the answers. I'll find other people with other strengths. This is all, it lightens the load for you. It can give you a little bit of humor if your ego has got a little bit too big and you're feeling like you have to be this successful person and be able to do everything. You can kind of actually have a bit of a laugh at yourself and go, actually, how silly is that? I'm actually not using, by trying to be everything, I'm being a jack of all trades and a master of none. And yet, I've got my master, the things that I mastered. Let's find some other people to help me with the other stuff, because, I want to work to my strengths rather than trying to be all things to all people. So that's the sort of energy that's operating here. So why does the Fae want you to look at this right now? Why is it important right now? The Page of Swords, the Five of Cups, the Star reversed, the Ten of Wands reversed, the Sun reversed, because trying to be everything, you're gone right off the path of what you were going to be best at and what you were really meant to do. The other thing that this could be, I've seen this in organisations. People move up the ladder and they get a management role. And what they really loved doing was doing. They were very inventive. They were sort of someone who should have been, kind of a technical specialist or something like that. And like suddenly they're doing all this other stuff they're not interested in. Or you start a business and all you really want to do is the creative aspect of it. So what Spirit is saying here, or what the Fae is saying here, is that somewhere along the way with this, you lost sight of what you were really aiming for in your life. You lost sight of what you were really the star of by trying to be the star of everything. And it's a huge burden. Being the Empress is a huge burden, and it's like, seriously, it might be a little bit of kind of entitlement or a kind of ego thing. And if it's that, all you're doing is making life hard for yourself. So being able to have a sense of humour about it and lighten the load is really going to help. And it'll bring out what the star is meant to be. At the moment you're exhausting yourself. At the moment, you're kind of, the communication energy is coming out is all the things that aren't working, all the things that you aren't happy about, as opposed to communicating what your vision is, what you really want from this. So the Fae is just saying you just need to do it so that you can actually get back on course. And the longer that you delay this, the longer you try to be all things, the less progress you're going to make. So what do they know that you don't know at the moment? What do they foresee that it would be useful for you to know? The Ten of Swords reversed, Justice reversed, the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Okay, this is pretty serious to really take this seriously, the Queen of Cups. Okay. What they're saying is that if you keep doing this, you're going to exhaust yourself. And in the end, it's an injustice to you. It's an injustice to others. It's not sustainable. There's something about this chaos that's not sustainable. And it's going to affect you on a very material level. You'll no longer feel, at the very best, you'll no longer feel committed to what you're doing because it's not connecting to your heart. At the worst, it's like, materially and all of that kind of thing, it's just going to fall apart. It's not going to deliver what it could deliver. And what the Fae is saying is that your original vision in your heart and what mattered to you is actually still very, very vital. That's the thing to focus on. It's like you went from being the Queen of Cups, the visionary, the creative, the artistic, whatever this might be, the person who wanted to have a really beautiful work environment for people, whatever it is, all the really beautiful sort of energies of the Queen of Cups, to the Empress. Now, the Empress is normally fine, but in this situation, it's like taking on too much. So, going from a queen to an Empress, it's like, and it's not to say if you've taken on a promotion or whatever that you have to give the promotion up. It's like how you delegate that energy and where you go, okay, you know more about this than me. I want to learn from you and so forth. It's a little bit of humility that allows you to share the load is actually the smartest thing you can do. Yeah, and so there's something in that. There might be something in the environment you're in that kind of like says once you're there, you're supposed to kind of know everything. But this is saying it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And so, but there is a way back, going back to what you really cared about. What made you fall in love with whatever this was in the first place is the way back. It's not all the, I've got to be the best at it, or I've got to do everything, or I've got all the responsibility. I mean, if you're in a situation where you've taken on all the responsibility because nobody else is taking responsibility, it's almost like you have to go and talk to someone again who can bring in the right people for you if it's in a workplace. Because it's like there's something that's gone wrong with the recruitment process. You might need some advice around employee relations, for instance. If it's not in a workplace, if it's in friendships, then there's something going on where you've taken on a kind of leadership role, and it's detaching you from what your true caring heart, and it's not sustainable. They just want you to know it's not sustainable. But they're saying you can do it with a little bit of humour, with a little bit of humility and humour, and getting back to your heart, because what you were doing was good, and you are meant to be a star. You are meant to do that. It's just in the things that are really true to you, as opposed to try and be everything. That's the energy. So let's get you some help. Let's get you a couple of luminous creatures from the forest. So this is a deck that I never really know what the animals are, so I always pause once I put it out to find out what the animals are. So we get, I'm not going to guess, because when I guess, it's often wrong. So we get some sort of four-legged creature there. And another which I could probably guess, but I'm not going to until I've seen for sure. Okay, so this is a coyote and this is a dormouse, and it's interesting because it's adding another layer to this. The other reason why you have to do something with this is that you're either needing to face your own shadow about power because it's not sustainable, or more to the point with these two, you could be in a situation where there's some dishonesty or trickster energy around you. So if you're in an organisation or something like that and you're taking on everything, people might be kind of relying on that, and that might be as far as it goes, or they could literally be being dishonest with you. So you've got to clear everything out, get through the chaos and concentrate on what your key skills are, and then get the right advice and go for the right advice. Don't presume. If there's some dishonesty or trickery going on, say, you're a boss of an organisation, it's like find out, get the legalities worked out. There could be something like that going on. So they want you to know about that. They want you to be aware that there's something shadowy here that has to be dealt with. And if it's your own shadow around power, they're only wanting you to do it so that you get back to your true heart, because they're saying that, you do have a really good heart. There's just the requirements and the status and all that kind of thing. But I think for most of you, this is actually, this whole thing is not just about it not being sustainable there. This is also that there's some energy around this where people are taking advantage of the chaos, or of you taking on all the responsibility, and it's good to get some good advice about that and have a beginner's mindset about that to know what to do. So it's very interesting. Let's have a look then at your magic that you can bring to this. Because I think a lot of this they're saying get some expert advice and help if that's the case, and you'll be fine. But if you don't, if you ignore it and you just think, I'll just keep on, I'm the boss or whatever this is, then it's not sustainable. So let's see your magic in all of this. Focus, yeah, so focusing, you need to focus. It's too chaotic. People could be taking advantage of that, but you actually are good at it. Going back to the core thing, look at how she's looking at this cup. It's like what really mattered to you. Refocusing on that is a really strong aspect of you. It's a strength that you've almost forgotten by taking on too much. And then we also have sacred space. You need to find a place that you can get away from it all and focus, and also to look at your environment. If it's a messy office, how do you make that a sacred space again? If it's a messy house, what is that doing to you energetically? Where is somewhere sacred and simple that you can focus? That's all you really need to do, because you got to whatever this was because you had abilities. It's just now that you're being stretched too far, and there could be people that take advantage of that. You can absolutely get the help and advice you need, and that's why the Fae are talking to you. But you need to be prepared to ask for it. You also need to give yourself time out to really focus on what matters to you. Let's see the astrology around focusing, and then about finding your own space. So a pair of planets that help you around focus. Moon and Uranus. This is a very emotional thing for you. You need to sort of allow change. It's also asking you to think about, is there something about chaos normally with Uranus that works for you emotionally? because you need to maybe focus beyond that, because it's maybe that you have a tendency to go to that you're very artistic, and in a chaotic environment where there are lots of things going on, it's good for you normally, but there's a need to focus now. So understanding that it might be just about something very specific right now, if that's the case. And then with sacred space, Saturn and Saturn. Yeah, this is about power, structures of things. What is material, what takes time, what is limited, what is constrained. There could be something legal for some of you. It's not going to be for all of you, but for some there could be. That's a good sign though. It's a good sign that you could get, the energy of the law on your side. But yeah, you need to get the advice. You need to get people who are very steeped in that if there's something like that going on. But I think it does bode well. Okay, so let's get you a couple of signs as well from the sort of natural world and the elemental world that will help you with the focus and with finding the space that you need and getting the advice you need, because there is something here about getting advice. So around the focus, when you maybe are normally creative in a more chaotic environment. So what sign can help you get the focus? Legumes, seeds, potential, marriage, prosperity, luck, manifesting. You know what, it may be that like part of the sacred space and the focus is to get away from things like just allow yourself a break each time you have a meal and really get into that, really sort of take the nourishment from it and take the time. That may help you focus. Cooking may help you focus. Okay, and then around the sacred space and getting the kind of the right boundaries around things that lay a structure that's going to last and brings you the right sort of wise counsel if you need it. Red, love, passion, anger, aggression. Okay, so there's a lot about the passion in what you do here. So for your sacred space, take the things you're most passionate about, the Queen of Cups again. The things that really originally drove you. What was the Nine of Cups before it got reversed? What were you passionate about? That's the thing to kind of make sacred and protect. And then the thing to focus on is how to nourish that. And sometimes that's going to be what you do, but sometimes it's going to be the advice that other people can bring. Okay, so we're just going to get you a last piece of advice around this situation from the Enchanted Forest. It's coming. Hope is on the horizon. In the face of challenges, remember that nothing lasts forever. Trust the universe has good things in store for you. So yeah, I think that the Fae want to say this is not meant to make you worried. It's meant to make you lighten up, clear the energy, get the right advice, not be too worried that you have to have all the answers. Find the people that do. Give yourself a sacred space and get back to the core of what is really your strength and really your passion. All of this will sort out if that's the case. There is hope. This is not like everything is hopeless and it's chaotic now and it can't be fixed. It absolutely can. But you do need to be aware of this, and you do need to not take on too much, because that would be about the only thing that could make it unsustainable. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope it was helpful, Pile 3. It's probably the heaviest of the 3 messages in some ways, but nevertheless, there is a good outcome for this. It's just recognising and working with the energy in a good way. So I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.